Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to another Inner Chaos art session, art lesson, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to continue going through the, draw what you see, not what you know. And today we're going to start going through a very basic technique, which is called the grid method. Now, we're going to start very simple. I'm going to start first by doing a basic line art. Here's a little drawing that I did of my kitty based on one of the photos. So we're just going to do some basic line art, and then we're going to go ahead and move up to something more complicated, such as one of my Nepenthes and a portrait at the end. Yeah, I use myself because this way no copyright strike. But anyway, guys, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start real easy, and then we're going to work our way up. So eventually I do want to do another grid method that is using color, so you guys can see how this also translates to that. But for right now, let's go ahead and just start with the basics. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this going. So all that you're going to need for this exercise is paper, some sort of a hard edge. In this case, you are going to need a way to measure it, because this way it's going to make sense when I get going. But you will need some sort of a ruler. And then just a basic line art. Right now, I'm just starting with something really simple. You can go really extravagant if you want to do something more complicated. You can go ahead and do that. But for the sake of this exercise, I chose something very simple, which was my kitty. So it's a real photo, and I went ahead and I simplified it for line art for this exercise. Now, this was originally printed with nothing in it, but I wanted to just kind of block out my starting point before I started this, so that way I did a lot of my measurement ahead of time. So for this particular image, I went 2 inches from the bottom, I found my base, and then from here I went ahead and I have 4.5 remesh covers the height, and this is 4.5 inches, okay, in that direction. And if I go a long ways, or in the horizontal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and around 7 inches, so it covers everything in the head as well. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do the same thing. So I already measured out 1, 2, 3, 4. In this case, it's gonna be 4.5. And I'm gonna go right here at the top. I'm gonna try to line this up as best as I can and make myself a reference line going across, and I'm going to divide it the same way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and this is going to be my back end. And then I'm going to go ahead and measure up. So in this situation, make sure, in this case I have 4.5 inches, so I'm measuring up in this direction, and then I'm measuring out in this direction. This is my starting point down here. So make sure when you're doing your grid, you don't go 4.5 inches up this way and 4.5 inches that way, because that's going to skew your grid. And yeah, so let's go ahead and continue from here. So I'm going to start from the bottom up. Okay, and if you have a ruler, make sure you pay attention where the starting line is, because a lot of people tend to do it from the edge, and that's not quite 1 inch. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. So let's go over here. One, 2, 3. I'm doing as best as I can. Unfortunately, this is kind of flattened out, mostly to kind of like help me with the camera, because he was doing some funky stuff before. So yep. And I apologize, guys, if I sound exhausted. I have been freelancing like a maniac. So again, I tried to do all my filming all in one shot, and then I just kind of, just put it out a little bit at a time, because it's kind of hard for me to do it weekly. So I kind of have a little bit of a breather today, so I'm going to try to get as many of these as I can. So my starting point going up, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5, ending vertical, and then 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so now I have my measurements. This is 7 inches by 4.5. So with that in mind, now I have a fresh sheet of paper and I'm going to redraw this grid. So again, this is an exercise on strengthening your visual, your pretty much how do you see things. You know, we're just going to, instead of, let me put my thoughts together. Instead of worrying about drawing everything together in one shot and overwhelming yourself, what you do is you tackle one square at a time, and that makes it a little easier for your brain to break it down and then be able to draw it. This is also another great way to scale up an image. So I used to do street painting for competitions, and I had to grab a image exactly that size and I had to draw it on like a 10 foot by 7 feet, and that's what I did. I would just create myself a grid of my image, and then instead of being in inches, I will make them in feet, and that's how I will scale up. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay. And just do the best you can. This doesn't have to be perfect. This has to be enough. Okay. And normally you want to do these grids kind of light, but because this is just an exercise, I'm trying to make it so it's visible for the camera. But if you're doing like a scaling image, you definitely want to draw these, and you want to either use a non-photo blue pencil or you want to use something really light. Non-photo blue depends what you're doing, but just draw it really light. It's really light, so that way you can erase it when you're done. Like I said, guys, I'm just doing this for fun. I love teaching. I've always loved teaching. I just didn't care for the politics of teaching. I love teaching. I love engaging with my students and seeing them grow. I miss having my younger students teaching me all the new lingo, so I wouldn't feel lost. Like I remember the first time someone would have said, "Oh, this song is on fire." I'm like, "Fire? What's on fire?" They're like, "No, the song is on fire." I was like, "Boy, you better tell me what's on fire, because I might have to run and turn on the alarm." And like, no. It means it's cool. It means that it's a good song. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm 44, man. I we had our little cool beans and all that stuff, and now you got things like drip and fire and slap and all that stuff, and it's I just like learning this stuff, not to use it, just to simply make sure that I understand when someone talks to me in the new terms. Oh, I am a short one. I need one more. I thought that looked a little short, and that is okay. That's what we're measuring. And again, I apologize, guys, if I sound tired. I am tired, but I really been antsy to make a lesson, and it's kind of nice just to kind of not stare at a screen. I usually tell art, including myself, I try to force myself to take a non-screen break, because it is a lot in your brain, and when you constantly have devices trying to engage with you, it can cause some mental fatigue. And I think for me, I'm a little fatigued at this point from staring at my screen. Mostly because of the continuous problem solving that I have to do. There we go. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. There we go. So now we have a grid. So we can literally go, and we're going 1, 2, 1. Okay, so you can start either way you want. You can either start from the bottom, or you can start to the top, whatever's more comfortable to you. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. Excuse me. Okay. So first thing we're gonna start at 0, and we're just gonna look at it by square by square. Now you can make yourself a viewer. That's like really OG, where you have a viewer where it only shows you one square at a time. But for this situation, we're just gonna go one square at a time here. So I'm gonna go right here. I'm gonna go 1, 1, square 1, 1. There's nothing there, and I'm gonna draw myself a little X. Okay. Square 1, 2, Okay, there is a little corner, and when you're dealing with like these little edges, what I like to do is that I like to grab the square, and this is again this one I like to do. I like to break it in quadrants. And this is just me, and then I see how much of the space taking over, and I just draw my line there as best as I can, because it ain't gonna be perfect the first time, but that's okay. Okay, so this one is done. So let's go to the next one, and I'm gonna repeat that same step. I'm gonna go right here, divide it in quadrants. Okay, what I'm seeing is this is coming in. So I'm looking at this. Let me move a little closer so you guys can see. So if this square is being divided into quadrants, this one's coming in about a third down, and then down here this is kind of coming in about a third from the bottom. So if I grab this is my third down, and this my third from the bottom, and then that is going to continue up to that pivot point right here. So that kind of gives me an idea where to draw that line. And again, it ain't going to be perfect, but it's going to be similar. Okay, from there I'm going to move over to the next one. I'm going to do the same thing. So in this case it's going to be almost right on the same spot. So it's going to continue. See, and I did it again. I broke it down. Now this one right here, we have the main line, but wait, there is a little bit of a joint up here, and I'm only going one square. I'm not even worried about the rest of it. I'm only going by this, what's in this square. It's that parameter. That's why some people like the viewers and other people don't. I personally don't need it because I'm okay. Okay. So right here, let's go ahead and move over to the next one. Okay, so we're gonna go right here. Okay. I mean, you can see that I keep breaking it down. Now, we have this main line here, and then we have this other line right here, and this one goes all the way across. There's a little bump here just before it starts entering. Comes in here, and then it closes up. Now, this one, because there's so little, I'm gonna cross into the next quadrant, but that's because there's just so little that goes over. Not a big deal. Okay, and these two, there is nothing here, and there's nothing here. Okay, cool. So that gives me the whole base. Let's move up to the next line. Okay, so from here, I'm gonna scooch back a little bit. Come on, camera. There we go. I'm gonna scooch back a little bit, and now we're gonna look at the feet. Now, this one, you have a lot of stuff going on here, so I will highly suggest to try to break this down into fours. Okay, and this is in 2-1 section, or 0-1 section, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and what I'm seeing right here is, you can start whichever you want. Let's start with the upper left. We have a little bit of the toe coming in here, and it's touching that top. Now notice how this is not touching the edge. So that's gonna come in here, over here, and do the best that you can to draw these. Okay, and then about halfway through here, gives me that line. Okay, and then right there. Alright, so that goes up here. And again, notice that I'm breaking it down by little. I'm not going too crazy. Alright, this is around the halfway line. I'm gonna go across, and just before it reaches the end, you can see there's a little paw there, and then this goes up here. And again, if it's just a little, I'm just gonna go ahead and let that. Alright, so we got that. Now from there, we're gonna go ahead. Okay, and I'm gonna start folding this out so you guys can see how I do it. Then from here, again, you learn something new every time you teach this stuff. It's different when you're teaching in person, when you're on camera. But I'm trying to be very versatile here. So from here, you're gonna go ahead and continue doing the same thing. You're gonna break this area into a quadrant, and again, just draw it as light as you can. And this is great, like if you're like, let's say you're a fan of like your favorite anime, like One Piece, and you really just kind of want to learn how to draw your character. This is a great way to just kind of start if you don't have any real experience and you don't understand anatomy, volume, and shape and all that stuff. This just allows you to build up those visual skills while drawing your favorite characters. Okay, so that takes care of that. There is nothing here. And let's move over here. Okay, so again, I'm gonna break this down into quadrants. And this is as best as your ability. This doesn't have to be perfect. So if this is the halfway point, what I'm seeing here is about, again, a third in. This is coming down. And again, notice that where my boundary is, I'm trying to replicate that as best as I can. And then this is gonna, it dips in, comes down, it goes down onto a peak right before enter the next box. And you can see a little bit of the line right up here. And again, I'm only focusing on one box at a time. I'm not trying to go beyond that. All right, let's go to the next one here. Again, replicate quadrants. And you can break this down to smaller boxes if you want. I just don't see it necessary to do like the itty bitty boxes. But everybody's got their technique. This is my technique that works for me. So I'll start really big, and then the areas where there's more detail, I'll go ahead and I'll add more quadrants in them. This is what works for me. But if you do have a very intricate image, maybe breaking it down to more little squares would be a good solution. And then right here, let's go down here. So we have this piece, we have this little piece right here, and then there is this right here that crosses over. Okay, so now let's move over to this one. Now don't get scared. There's a lot going on in here. That's okay though. Let's take a look. And the object of this is just to kind of break this down to consumable chunks. Okay, so right here, this is the halfway point on that. We can see part of the nose. And notice how I'm just breaking it down. This is me. This is what my mind is doing. I'm looking at where is it located in that quadrant, and then I'm breaking it down. So this one's about a third in this direction, and then that. Starts. Breaking it down, and I just try to tackle one line at a time. I try not to do everything in one shot. We have that one line there. Now this one's coming in, and there's a little bit of a spot there, and then you see part of the neckline. It attaches there to the kitty head. And then we have one whisker, and that overlap is for here, here. And it's easy to get lost the first time, guys. I know that I myself, my brain overthink things, so sometimes I get lost in my own mind, and I'm sure everybody has that problem, but I do sometimes. Then right here, if I continue. Okay, now let's go to this next one. So then we have this cat eyeball. Right here is kind of like an almond shape. Right now, the struggle that I'm having is that the pencil is not, the pencil's tip is being special. There we go. So that gives me the eye, and then you can see the little eyebrow there. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. If it's your first time, just do the best you can. There we go. And then right here, we're gonna go ahead and do this. There we have that right there. Again, I'm trying to see. So drop this down to thirds. Keep in mind that this is just a basic mechanical pencil. This is not a drawing mechanical pencil. They do make those. They're very intricate. Mostly engineers use them. That you can literally like manipulate every part of like the lid and all that stuff, the lead. Okay, so we have that. Let's go ahead and continue the next row. Like I said, do the best you can. Okay, so per usual, let's go ahead and start. So right here, you're gonna see a little bit of the toe. Okay, so there is a little bit of the toe here, and then it kind of goes up, and about halfway here you see the next line. Okay, now from here, let's go ahead and start drawing down. Get that one. We're going to continue, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Here we have part of the tail. Here. We're gonna do that. And right here, there's a lot going on in this square, and again, just like we've done before, let's go ahead and go easy. If you break it down to just basic lines, it's less overwhelming versus thinking that it's a cat's paw, because at that point you have the left side and the right side of your brain. The left side is more of like the letter, shapes, color, things that are just basic things, like I don't know, like set things, versus the right side of your brain, which pretty much covers your visual stuff. So right here, we're gonna go ahead and break this down. And this whole book is called Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. It's a really good book. I used to teach out of it. I need to go back and reread it. It's got a lot of really good information on how your brain works. It's where I got that little tidbit about the schoolhouse. So yeah, so if you're looking for a good way to find out how your brain, why I said that your brain works the way it does, I would suggest that book. Okay, I said not perfect, but it works right now. Let's go ahead and continue. Let's break this down. Okay, so from here, this goes down. So this technically goes down to here. This is that, so it goes into this, and then it spikes back up, comes close to that corner there. And again, we're not looking for perfection. It is okay if this is not perfect. This is you just working on your visual skills. There we go. And now we're going to see a little bit of the chin. Okay, now let's go ahead and continue. Ah, the face, the most the most daunting part for most people. People freeze when they see if they have to draw a face. Okay, so let's start. I already got the chin. Let's go ahead and start with the nose. Okay, so we'll go right there. This goes just shy of a quarter. Here. Okay, then this right here, you have the eyeball. Sorry, my pencil is being extra. I'm trying to get the little ball in there, but it's not letting me. I'm just gonna have to go without it. Okay, so we got that. And take a look at the shape right here. And then this kind of dips back in. Not all the way to the edge though, just right before, and then it pops up. And you also have that. Okay. From there, you're gonna go ahead. Now notice how this whisker goes from the edge all the way. It overlaps this. It goes with this one. It kind of overlaps that little corner. And then this one touches this right here. Okay? From there, we're gonna go ahead and continue breaking this down into quarters. Okay, it's gonna go up. Down, and then this comes down right there. It's onto that. There is a wiggle line in here. Alright, so far so good. The eyes don't look the same, but again, it's kind of hard to get that look with the pencil that I currently have. But let me try that again. So this one is more square-ish. There you go. There you go. That looks a lot closer. Okay. Let's go ahead and continue to the last little bit of this. Just like we've had before. Okay, so 1 to 1. Nothing there, nothing there. There's stuff right here. Okay, so we have that. And then, actually, so here, I got lazy, so y'all can make fun of me for this. So this, I drew it up to this point. So if this is the quadrant, I almost touched it. But if you look at it right here, that's not quite there. It's actually a little lower. Again, not what you see, not what you know. This comes up. Got the tail. Then we got part of the top. There we go. So that takes that. The only thing we'd have to worry about is this last little bit right up here. All right. So let's go ahead and pull out a little bit. Let me adjust the camera. Okay, so here we have my kitty that I started with, and this is the kitty that I ended up drawing. Pretty darn close, ain't it? Pretty darn close. Oh, I did miss one spot. Whoopsie. Here. Okay, now I have an entire cat. Pretty close, 1-to-1 on both sides. But this is how you can easily replicate an image that you like, and you just kind of want to learn it, or just cause I personally like doing grid method. If I just put like an ebook or like something real, some relaxing movie, this is what, like, not movie but relaxing music. This is what I like to do. Oh, sorry. So this is what I like to do. And then this also works well, especially doing really complicated replications. There's people out there that still do it. I personally like to do this with, like I said, if I'm doing like street painting where I have to blow a picture up, this is what I like to use. So this is with a basic line art. Okay, so let's go ahead and move up to something a little bit more complicated. Let's go ahead and move on to my next image, and this is a Nepenthes. I love carnivorous plants. I have several of them. So right here, what I want to do is that I want to scale this up. Okay, so first thing I need to remember is that when I'm scaling up, I need to make sure I have enough space. So for this, my actual measurement is a 2 by 5. So in order for me to blow it up to twice the size, I need to do times 2. So if this is 2 times 2, that means it's going to be 4, and then 5 times 2 is going to be 10. So it's going to be, instead of being a 5 by 2, it's going to be a 10 by 4. So we're going to start with that. So these sheets are 8.5 by 11. This is your standard sheets that you could buy at the store. So let's go ahead and focus on scaling up. Okay, so if this is 8.5 by 11, so what I need to do is leave half an inch on the top. So this will give me some cushion. Half an inch at the top. And then half an inch at the bottom. So this is gonna limit my height. It's winter. My head is dude. I hate seasonal changes. It always feels like my head's pounding. So it's very unpleasant. Okay, so right here I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna draw my height. So it's gonna be 10 inches. This is an 11 inch page, so I'm removing half an inch from the top and bottom, which will give me 10 inches. Okay, so this is an 8.5 by 11. You could try to center it. So 8.5, we're looking at, okay, that's 8.5. So in order to center it, this gets kind of funky because of the half. It is 4.25. The 4.25 is the midpoint. This is the best way that I can think of solving this problem. So 4.25 is the midpoint, and then from there you measure 4 inches to the left. Excuse me, 2 inches to the left, and then 2 inches on the right. You do the same thing at the top. And sorry if I got tongue twisted there. So you're gonna find the center. Again, it's 8.5. The halfway point is 4.25. So 4.25, and then you measure out 2 inches to the left and then 2 inches to the right, and that's how you find that. So then let's go ahead, go here. Let's go ahead and create our grid. Okay, now remember, we're trying to do a 1-to-1 ratio. Okay, so the default that our brain wants to do is go, oh, I need to draw 10 boxes by 4 boxes because I now went to a 4-to-10 versus a 5-to-2. But the reality is, what you're doing is scaling out the boxes. So technically right here, these are my this is my 1-2 boxes at double the size, and I need to do the same thing in this direction. So let me show you so I don't sound like a completely crazy person. Okay, so right here, that is 10 inches. So instead of dividing them per inch, we're gonna divide them by every other inch. Okay, so 1, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. You know, and it's funny because this is why a lot of artists probably go crazy, because a lot of stuff is how do we replicate things, and there's a lot of critical thinking that goes into drawing. I actually highly encourage folks that, you know, in an era of digital and AI and all this stuff, still stop by and like just try to do things traditionally. It is very stimulating to the health of your brain. I have nothing against AI. I use AI all day long, so that is not it. However, while you do have a much higher input with AI, it just doesn't feel as personal, and you technically don't really remember what you make because you're making so much content so fast that you're just kind of like, oh yeah, I made that, and then you just kind of keep going. Okay, so let's go ahead and repeat the steps that we've done before. Now, I'm only going to focus on the plant. I'm not going to focus on my hand. If I want to, I can come back to it, but right now that is not the objective. So I'm going to start. This is 0, 0. Okay. And so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you have 1, 2. Okay. So I'm going to start right here, just like before. I'm going to break this into quarters. And the Penties are they're pretty fun plants. You definitely need some very specific environments to grow with. If you get a chance, there are some very good books talk about them. This one is called The Savage Garden, and they talk about how to do, it's practically the Bible carnivorous plant care. And I've read it and I loved it, and unfortunately what kills me here in Texas is the weather. The weather is just too crazy, too unstable. Like we went from 90 degrees last week and then to like 70s in the morning to suddenly it's like 60 and 40. And lucky for me, like I said, I watch the news a lot, so I was able to bring a lot of my plants in and be able to avoid having a lot of them being destroyed by the sudden drop of weather. That was a mistake I made 1 year before, and man, that was heartbreaking. Okay, so just like before, right now, again, I'm just looking at what we got. Now, the cool part is about carnivorous plants. They have like this, especially these pitcher plants, is that when they grow, they have like this little lid that pops open. That's what this is. So pretty much this attracts the bugs in, and there's different versions of these things depending where you get them. But it attracts the bugs in, and then they're just kind of in here, and eventually they slide in. Some of them, they pretty much just fly right into here. It's really cool. Carnivorous plants are really freaking cool. At least in my opinion, they are. Alright, so let's head over here. Okay, and right now we're going to continue doing the same thing that we did before. And right now, I'm just getting the basic shapes. I am not that deeply engrossed. Actually, I made a mistake already. And it's okay if you make mistakes, guys. So I drew this a little too flat. Technically, this goes out up to here. I was wondering why my stuff looks funky. And then it comes up here. I just drew it too soon. And then this comes down here to the bottom. And the way these plants look like, they kind of have like what I call like a Dracula collar. So it kind of goes in, it does this little peak, and then right there, it just kind of looks like that. It just kind of looks, it's technically a leaf. That's what it is, but the curvature of the leaf is quite interesting. Okay, right here, I'm gonna continue. This goes almost down past here, and then it starts curving inward. And same thing goes right here. This curves down, and of course this is going to be different depending on what image you selected. Let me know if you want me to provide the photos, that way you guys can experiment with these, or you want to use your own. That's totally fine too. Looking at these, and this So we got that right there. There are some pretty interesting textures, but a lot of this I'm going to tackle it with color. Okay, so we got that right there. And then let's go ahead and go down to the next box. This continues right around the quarter. Comes down and it comes back up. Okay, so we have that. And then right around here is where we're starting to see the body of the plant starts populating or starts showing up. Right here, if I break this down, there really is not a lot here or down here. So we're done with this row already. Alright, so top one right here, there's my hand, nothing I need. You have a little bit right here in that corner, and let's go back and break this down into quarters again. And I'm looking at where this is starting, where is it ending. Continue. It's right here. This comes down, and it goes down. And then this is going to continue this down into quarters again. Okay, and then this is going to come here. Oh, we do this right here. Alright, so that kind of gives me the opening. And now we're gonna go right here and we're gonna start looking at these. So these things has like two stripes, so when you actually see a picture, it's kind of narrow here, and they tend to have kind of like a bulb, and depending on the variant, the bulb could be bigger or smaller. But then there's like these little like edges, and it's got these little spikes on it, and that's what we're seeing here on this variant. But this is coming down. Oh my god, I can't stop yawning, I'm sorry. My cats woke me up at 4 because they're my little monsters. This comes down here, and not to worry about the details yet. Right, and then we're going to continue down. You're starting to see the edge of the curvature of the plant. And this, for the most part, continues down. Okay, we'll continue here. Okay, we gotta go here, and this comes down, and it goes down. We did miss up here. It's a little bit up here. So that, for the most part, gives me my Nepenthes. There's a couple of things that I'm having a hard time seeing. Here's this little area, so I'm gonna have to go back to the original photo. But it's got like two little, like, how do you say, these two little hooks that comes out. But for the most part, that, you know, getting the objective, like, you know, exactly the same is not the main point of this. The main objective is to show you The first is how to do a 1-to-1 scale ratio, which is what we saw right here. And then, excuse me, how do we go ahead and scale up? So here's the original size, and this is the same image at double the size. Okay. Okay, so I think right here is a really good stopping point. On the next one, we're gonna go ahead and tackle doing the grid system, probably picking up with this plant right here, and we're gonna go from there, and we're going to tackle color. And as you can see by this picture here, there's a lot of little details in here with this picture plant, so this is kind of perfect for this exercise. So but in the meantime, guys, I'm gonna keep just kind of making these little videos as best as my ability. I hope that you like and subscribe and keep supporting the channel. It's greatly appreciated. And if you have any questions, some certain topics that you might not be able to find a lot of information you want me to cover, please go ahead and post them in the comments. I do read them. So yeah, so there's that. But anyway, guys, I will talk to you later. And again, thank you for joining me on this great exercise. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.